Danny Martin, Executive Director, Co-Founder of Geekletes.
Good Day 2K, slash and defender, small forward.
Fast Kid, playmaking shot creator, point guard.
King Color DTX, athletic post forward.
Soul Code 23, slash and defender.
Roger Caneda, #1 point guard in the world.
True the OG, shot grading slasher. Don't underscore Reese 99, rebound and athletic finisher.
Okay, so again, thank you guys so much for being able to come. It means a lot in regards to bringing the 2K community together in this facet, in this way. A lot of energy, a lot of dedication comes into this to put this thing together for you guys. It also takes you guys' dedication to be good at the game, and really put on a good show. So first and foremost, thank you guys for coming out from Austin, coming out from San Antonio. We hope to keep building this community out from a Texas perspective. We have the possibility to be like pretty dang great in the space of NBA 2K from just our geographic location alone. So just keep that in your mind when you're competing. Just know that you're competing for something bigger than yourself. If you guys build this out, it's going to be that much more prominent for your kids, and the kids. Cool? So think about that all the time when you're actually competing, because they're likely to get the benefits. We're starting the NBA early, so we're going to be the Bill Russells, we're going to be all them later on. And so just recognize what you guys are up against. Yeah, right? It's true, though. It's definitely true. So from that dynamic, I want to be able to start off. I'm going to ask you guys some questions. Sometimes the questions are going to be just the same as when you guys are individual. The cool thing, I might ask them now the same due to the fact that everybody is here, and it makes for good video. So when I ask you guys, I'm going to ask a general question, and I'm going to kind of look at you guys, and you can be able to answer it as you see fit, okay?
Okay.
If the question is, I know it's general, and if I know it's, specific to someone, you'll know it. You'll definitely know, and you can just answer it, and I'll be able to go to another question and stuff from there. Cool? So let's go ahead and get it started. So for the OGs, for Roger, for Marcus, you guys are looked at in the community as a lot of knowledge, not only from a 2K perspective, but also from just the IQ of basketball. How closely resembled is NBA 2K to real basketball?
This is a good question because it is and it's not, right? I think there's a lot of implements from real basketball IQ that go into 2K, but there's also a lot of 2K IQ that needs to go into the game of 2K, right? So I think having a balance of both, but also understanding that 2K isn't real basketball,
For sure.
right? I think that's the biggest key, is you have to understand you're playing a video game at the end of the day. And one of the biggest keys in video games, from my experience on managing players in multiple games, is the mental toughness is your biggest key to success.
For sure.
I add a little bit. Just from being on the gaming side and playing the game and talking to a lot of different gamers that play the game, we have this discussion a lot. Do real life IQ can real life IQ be implemented in 2K and vice versa? What does it take both of them to be successful, or does it take 2K skills to be successful? I say I've seen guys that play basketball on the highest level. Sorry at the game. Have the highest IQ, but they can't interpret it into the game. So I would say 2K IQ takes precedent over real life basketball IQ. Both can be implemented if you have still skills and IQ. It makes you a dangerous player, like Roger said. With the mental toughness aspect of it, it'll make you a great player. So, yeah, that's my take on that.
I feel you. So from piggyback on that same question that he had posed, he answered it. Any guys want to be able to provide your insight in regards to having knowledge versus 2K knowledge?
Yeah, I will. I feel like it's really three things. It's the stick skills, knowing what commands to input, knowing how to use them, like getting used to all the dribble moves, knowing how to drop step, stuff like that, Euro and all that. And the 2K IQ, knowing how the game itself works, like knowing what the exploits are and stuff like that. And also like real basketball IQ too. It's like if you know like how real sets run, you know like who to pass it to, You know when some guys are gonna be open. You know when it's appropriate to cut. You know when to slow things down. So all that comes into play. So it's all those three things that have to be meshed into one.
Perfect. Anybody else? Anybody? So from that dynamic, they talk about composure. They talk about positivity. When you guys look at yourself and you're competing against individuals that you don't know, and they get under your skin, or you get frustrated, what's something that you do inside of your mind or out loud to keep everything composed to pull out the W?
I usually just say, like, if somebody, like, people start arguing, I just tell them, like, we're only down by this much. There's no need to bicker. We can still pull it out. Or somebody's, like, telling me something that I need to do, and I was like, all right, that makes sense. Just stuff like that, just to keep it from bickering.
What I do, I mean, I try to calm the team down as much as I can. If I get frustrated myself, sometimes just cut my mic off, vent a little bit, cut it right back on, get back to the game.
Mm-hmm.
It just helps me cope with the situation.
For sure.
I feel like I'm the hype man for the group. I like creating that energy. Like,
No.
I don't know. That energy, it makes people feel good about themselves, whether we're up or down.
Yeah.
That just bringing that energy. Like if we're down, especially, I can talk my players through it. You know what I'm saying? Give them the insight that hey, we can win this.
Mhm.
We could fight through this because. If we down 15, I came back from 15. I came
Yeah.
back down from 20 points, 25 points. You can make anything happen.
For sure.
So that's how I feel about it.
I feel you. Steven?
To keep my composure, I just try to imagine that anybody could be watching me. It could be somebody's grandmother saying, hey, I heard that, Steven's playing. I just want to see what he's doing.
Yes.
Right? So I never want to cross that line to where I would be embarrassed if I was to meet that grandma in person.
Okay. Perfect. That makes sense. Hey, that's a good way to put it, man. Definitely a good way to put it. What's your perspective?
I have a long answer, and I don't want to bore y'all with it, but it's two components with me when it comes to, and I'm probably gonna be a little different than the average gamer, but as far as the 2K League and this Geekletes journey is concerned, because I'm trying to be a coach, but communicating, there's two sides of it for me. It's the gamer side, which I'm gonna talk SHI with the best of them on the mic, and I feel like I get into a lot of debates, you can call it arguments with guys, because I feel like I'm passionate about the game, and I love seeing it played in the right way.
Yeah.
It frustrates me to play with guys who just don't have the IQ, and then when you try to talk to them about it, it turns into an argument, and it just burns me up on the inside. So for anybody who may go through my streams, check me out. That's who I am inside of my house, my comfort zone, a different realm. Like you guys see me here, this is how I would be in public if I was to be, coaching or whatever. You wouldn't see that aspect of me, but it just, it's two. So I think everyone has that. When you're in the comfort of your own environment, you're gonna talk. You're gonna talk that talk.
Exactly.
But when it's time to be professional, then it's time to be professional. So
For sure.
you know.
So what is like on the flip side when you're in coaching standpoint?
Well, when it's coaching, then yeah, it's
How do you keep your composure?
It's an open dialogue.
For
We
sure.
both give input.
Because it's hard. It's a difficult process.
Very difficult. We've already experienced it.
Yes,
experienced
for
the
sure.
difficulties of trying to coach. People who haven't been in that environment. It's very hard when you haven't been in that structured environment where discipline is there. You have to be told how to do this and told how to do this. Some people are not receptive of being told how to do this, so it turns into, arguments, and it turns to debates, and then doubts and everything else come in the fold. So
For sure.
it just, it's a respect factor. I guess you earn the respect of your peers
Exactly.
for them to be able to hear you out.
And this is why it's so unique, because what we've tried to charter is the live perspective. How many of you guys have been on a live 5 team for Pro-Am? Competed against 5 live other guys outside of just being online? Anybody?
No.
it's a huge realm that you guys are gonna experience, whether you make it to the NBA league or whether you be on pro am team and it comes a live experience. It's a whole nother beast, you know. So it's the composure is even critical, and so when he speaks on respect, it's like you have somebody telling you right now, like, move over here or do this transition or formation. And you either listen to it. If you don't listen to it, then it takes the whole chemistry away from everyone. Right. So it's so docile, you know, when it comes down to being in a physical presence versus just on your game. Me per se, I think it's totally different. You know, when I see individuals play pro-am on a game, it's nowhere near how it's going to be when Roger has a team or when Pacers or when they start the actual team in a live setting, because it's like being on a real basketball team from that dynamic. Right. And so, which leads me to this next question from that perspective. So you guys have got the chance, all but Aaron, to ask Roger a question in regards to if you have one question. Aaron, I'm gonna let you ask this first, but I also know that individuals left that opportunity to ask him questions with, I should have asked him this. So after Aaron asked him, if you experienced that, feel free to ask that question while we're here.
Okay. So my question to be Rush.
Mm-hmm.
Like my question would be for this entire thing. Like I know, like as a team, you want to win. But is there anything like beyond that you look forward to?
Yeah, there's things I can and can't speak about. One, I'm building a facility as we speak, and it's not your normal just I'm gonna put some TVs, and I'm building something really cool. Something bigger than just 2K, so I'm really excited for that. And it's also going to be a place that my players are going to want to wake up to and go to every day, that's for sure.
Right,
yeah.
That's cool. That's nice.
Anybody else? Go for it.
What type of mindset are you looking for your players, from your players?
A positive mindset, if we're just going to say it in one word. But if we want to go into detail, I look for players that are going to be able to adapt to any environment, to any situation, players that have a strong-willed personality, players who are mentally prepared and strong currently, because that's why I watch streams. Like, I could not watch anything right now. It's not going to matter, right? The 102 players are still getting chosen with or without me. Yeah. So I do this to understand and learn you guys, not just your skill, but how you react, how you're acting, how you're communicating, how you're interacting with your teammates. So it's just very important to be a positive person.
For sure. Hey Roger, how critical is marketability for your player?
It's not critical in the sense of if you're not marketable, meaning like you're just quiet, you don't really like being in the camera, doesn't mean you're not getting drafted.
Gotcha.
I'll teach you that. I'll break you out of your shell.
For sure.
But being marketable overall is going to be better for you personally, because at the end of the day, professional video game players aren't 10, 15, 20-year careers. They're 2, maybe 1 year, sometimes 3, 5-year careers. So what do you do after that? And that's something that I've had success in, and kind of I put myself in a position, because any player that I deal with, I put them in a position to be successful after me. Mm-hmm. And that's my biggest key, is my players being prepared for after this situation. If it's you want to be a streamer, if you want to be a YouTuber, if you want to go and do your career that you studied and graduated for and got your degree in, right?
For sure.
I want to prepare you for any of those moments and show you and give you the tools to be successful after. Even if you go on to another team, I want you to go to that other team with all these tools. We're like, oh my God, you got it. I don't even need to do it. You already know. For sure. That's what I want.
Perfect. That's good.
I want to go back on the answer that you gave previous to that one. So how with the combine, you're not able to determine who has the personality. You're not able to determine who is the hothead and determine who's going to be a team player. So how are you going to determine that?
Because the 102 players chosen for the draft, I'm giving everything, so I will be able to determine that.
So there will be a draft pool. So the managers have an opportunity to interview the 102 players before the draft?
We're giving everything. Every single data from your combine, we're giving it to if you're a 102 player.
Okay. So that tells me that y'all can hear the VODs?
Everything.
Okay. I have one bad VOD out there. It's
Yeah, it's bad.
But let's be realistic. Are we gonna sit there and watch every single VOD?
No.
It's impossible.
Right.
There's just no way.
I feel like
So the odds of that one bad VOD getting watched is very little,
Right.
but also it's very low. But there's also ways to determine if I watched 20 games and 19 out of those 20 games you were perfectly awesome,
Right.
and you had that one game. I'm human, man. I understand that people get frustrated, right?
Right.
So it's just being consistent.
Right.
And if you have one inconsistency, it's not the end of the world. That means that you were good for 19 and it just got to a point where you just couldn't handle it. I get that. I get there too. Everyone does, right?
Right.
So
The
I don't think.
two-part question. It's not the same, but
Cool.
your future outlook on this 2K league. Where do you see the future projections?
It's hard because we don't know how the season's gonna go, right? But I mean, ultimately, esports future is going traditional anyways to arenas.
Right.
So I could only imagine 2K will follow.
Right.
I think the barrier would be is like, why would I go to arena to watch a 2K game rather than an NBA game?
Right.
Yeah.
But in 10 to 20 years, okay, actually, there's a stat. Most people that watch baseball are over 40 years old. Same with basketball and NFL. So when one person dies, 2 new gamers are born.
Mhm.
That's a real fact.
Right,
like
right.
if when that one sports fan is passing away because he's older,
Mhm.
there's 2 new kids that are going to be gamers being born.
Right.
So just imagine what we're being 10 to 20 years.
Right.
So I could see this going big, going to arenas, people wanting to watch a game live, the stadium, because our generation, our millennials are all gamers,
Right.
and they're all esports competitive. So, I mean, yeah, as we have those traditional guys that would say I would never do that, and with all due respect, in 10 to 20 years, they're most likely not going to have that opinion, and they're going to get outweighed by the younger crowd.
Right.
So,
One more question.
go for it.
We got
time.
time. Yeah, we got time.
What was the question? Okay, so what do you think it's going to take to keep the viewers interested in watching the games?
Creating engaging content, not just putting a video out once in a while and showing. I mean engaging, mean interacting, showing them the day-to-day life of not just a manager, not just a player, but the operations of what we're doing. I think what I'm doing at the facility, I plan on documenting and the process of it, so people could see the work that went into this, because this hasn't been easy.
Right.
This is a very big project I'm working on, and it's not the easiest. It's not cheap,
No,
and
yeah,
it was.
no.
Some people told me I was crazy,
Right.
but now I'm sitting here with a budget, with everything ready to go, getting numbers,
Right.
getting bids. I had contractors. I had about 5 contractors come in to give me numbers on what, and then in the next 2 weeks I should start building.
Right.
So, I think having those resources as well is going to allow us in the 2K world to be able to provide that content.
Right.
And I'm willing to give it. Like, if there's a team out there that doesn't have their production like I do,
Mhm.
they're more than welcome to come over to my spot and go do that, because I'm here to help grow the league, not just Mavs Gaming.
Right. So that's the vehicle that you foresee the league using to engage with people, to get them to interested in it. But the
Well, yeah.
product on the court is that going to be something that you think is going to be hard to?
I think commentators are going to be the most important part to that. I mean, 2K is not going to change. The league is not. You're not going to get into a 5-on-5. It's going to be a whole different game, right? It's
Right.
the same thing that we've been playing from Pro-Am to walk on to the Combine.
Right.
I think the commentators are the most important part. If you look at games like League of Legends, a lot of people have no idea what League of Legends is, but if I turn it on right now, I bet everyone in here will watch it,
Right.
because the commentating is so intense and it explains the game
Right.
to a T.
Right.
Overwatch has to still learn that by it. Overwatch, it's so chaotic and the commentating isn't as good, I feel like, as League of Legends.
Right.
Because if you watch both, I get more intrigued in a league match when I have no idea what's going on than an Overwatch match.
Because
But
of
I
that.
know both the games, so I'm not saying, I'm just talking from a viewer.
Right. Right.
So so for example, you who's always 2K, right?
Mhm.
If you watched an Overwatch match and a League of Legends match, you would understand the league match rather than the Overwatch
Gotcha.
match, because the commentators are so intense
Gotcha.
and really explain what's going on.
Gotcha. That makes
So I
sense.
think for 2K, we need commentators that, one, have a personality, but also understand how to engage that audience and
Right.
keep
How
them
to
there.
Explain the game.
Yes.
Yeah.
Explain what's going on, explain everything, and also be entertaining, because it is a basketball
Right.
match. You can't just go, oh my god, this crazy thing's going on. Like, that only happens in the fourth quarter when the game's getting on the line.
I
I think you have to create some type of content during the game
Right.
from a commentator perspective where they have to think outside the box. So I think it is a challenge.
Right, and knowing the players, not just the archetypes
Yep.
and all that, but inside their lives, so you
Yep.
can explain that while the game's
Yep,
going.
exactly.
Right.
Agree. Like, hey, Smo
Right.
came from a foster home,
Right.
came from nothing.
Right.
Look at him right now. He's
Right.
leading the game points per game, and he's the number one player in the league right now.
Right.
That's a story to talk
That's
about.
a story,
during the game.
yeah.
Yep.
Exactly. Awesome. So on top of that, to piggyback off of that, in regards to a job that's needed, which is shoutcasting, there's 102 individuals that's going to get recruited, which leaves a lot of individuals with the next choice. I'm sure you guys are really passionate about NBA 2K. What's something, Roger, that you feel would be another opportunity for an individual who doesn't get recruited?
Well, I can't speak on what's not created, but I can only imagine there's just going to be more tournaments, leagues, and stuff like that going on after the 2K League or during it, right? And if it's not season 1, season 2, season 3, look at the NBA. They have a G League.
Yes.
Can I see the 2K League going that route in the future? Of course.
Yes.
I think there's a lot of opportunities. I think if you have a good understanding of the game, good understanding of 2K, good understanding of just life, being a people person, people skills, there's a lot of ways to utilize that in the league. I mean, there's only 17 NBA teams in right now.
Exactly.
What do you think the rest are thinking about right now?
Exactly.
Especially with how we're doing our social medias. I mean, some social medias do better than the NBA accounts,
For sure.
right? And that's very interesting to see. I mean, I just had our sports psychologist, who, by the way, will be working with our personal sports psychologist, hit me up. He's like, dude, my Twitter doesn't stop now.
Yeah.
You gamers are passionate. I
Yes,
was
for sure.
like, this is the real thing. This is why we are where we are today.
Exactly.
Esports wouldn't be where it is today if it wasn't an engaging platform like it
Exactly.
is. If we didn't have a Twitch to chat, if we didn't have, these professional / celebrities, actual be real celebrities like with paparazzi, security, we wouldn't have that interaction. But in esports, you could go talk to your celebrity, your favorite player.
For sure.
If you go to an event, you could actually meet them, shake their hand, talk to them. There's no security or paparazzi or huge crowd, bum them. It doesn't work that way right now.
For sure.
So it's different.
Okay. Cool. I have a controversial question to bring into this. So you guys know that there's some pretty good talent here in Dallas. Why do you find that the top talent? Well, I won't say top talent. Some of the good talent that you know. Why do you think that they do not stream their content or is active in the community?
I think it's a knowing that there's a community out there. That's one. So if you don't know you have an audience, that's willing to tune in to watch you, then you're not gonna do it.
Gotcha.
I don't know if there's any value showing vulnerability possibly.
Mhm.
If I'm the best shooter, for example, in 2K, and everybody thinks that I am, and I get the ball 3 times in the combine, and everybody's gonna say, "Oh, you only scored 6 points. How are you the best shooter in 2K?" I don't think there's
Gotcha.
any value in.
And the vulnerability.
You can't think it from that perspective, because what if someone watching your stream that can contact you and say, "Hey, let me help you out"?
Well, if I'm a elite
He's saying top
player, then they can watch my pro-am streams rather than my combine.
No, I thought you were saying that the reason why people won't stream is because they didn't want their vulnerability to be shown
Yeah.
through a stream.
So
That's what you said, right?
For me,
top player.
some
So-
top players said that they just want to focus, which I agree on.
Yeah.
If I'm a guy who already has, and when I say top player, there's no way to
exactly.
say a top player. Like I get MPBA created their season and they've done an amazing job
Mhm.
of identifying, but there's still no way to say, well, those are the top players because they played in this league.
Mhm.
Because there's still a lot of guys that play 2K that necessarily don't play in that league, but are really good players in game and outside of game, and
For
that
sure.
could tie into being a great 2K player.
Right.
So,
I'll go.
go ahead.
Okay, go ahead. Let me jump in, but I guess I'm in that category where you're saying I don't really get involved with NPBA
Mhm.
because of because pro-am is just so arcadey.
Mhm.
People were shooting from half court or posterizing 3 guys on
Gotcha.
break. So I spend most of my time just working on my game and understanding real life concepts.
Mhm.
So I play a lot of Play Now Online, understanding all that, and just getting real life basketball IQ. And because I know when the 2K League was announced, it wasn't going to use the Pro-Am build, It was
Mhm.
going to use its own modified to be balanced. The shooting is still a little high, but I mean, like it's a lot more toned down than pro am, and so like that was like a easy jump for me. It's like I know that like not everything's gonna fall, and like I'm not gonna get heated because of that, and it's probably the reason why I don't stream a lot too, because I just like to focus and just like grind it out.
Makes sense.
Let me put you up on something.
What's up?
'Cause I used to be that guy. It's a whole different world when you play from, like, say, walk-on, for instance, and then going playing with one of these comp teams. It's a whole different world. So you limiting yourself by saying that's the reason why you don't want to do that. You need to, if you want to take this business seriously, you have to go get a taste of that. Some kind of way, you have to go get a taste of that, because it's a whole different world when it comes to playing comp and playing walk on and just playing with your friends. You might go out there and get embarrassed. Guys play at a high level in that comp field. So, it's cool to say, hey, I want to stay in my own lane, and but it's nothing like that experience of playing against guys, that top guys, with quotation marks around top guys.
Yeah.
But there's some guys out there that can ball that you would learn a lot from. So, and with this league going to where it is, and I feel like a lot of those players going to get drafted into the league, then that's the type of competitive field that you're going to be playing against. And if you're not prepared for that, which, if you get drafted, then of course the team is going to prepare you for that. But it helps that you have that experience and be prepared before you get there. So
Right, yeah. It's definitely competitive. I don't disagree with you with that. But because most of the comp games I've seen is just like 5 out, one guy dribbling, nonstop.
Yeah, that's all you see.
That's all I see. I'm like, all right. The reason why I turned me away, I'm just like, okay, that's not basketball.
But
It's pro-am basketball,
right.
But it gets heated than anything else. But that's why I'm kind of I get turned away from that.
Right, but that's all you see. You have to experience. Is what I'm saying. I used to be that guy that say, "Hey, man, them guys, they're not doing anything. I could do that." But you go out there and then you see the difference. So,
and I think that's just more on game mode too, understanding the type of game mode, because play now is way different than playing a pro am game. Right?
Yeah, definitely.
Even the movements, I feel like, even the feel of the game.
Right, even the modes, the difficulty slider levels are even different from modes.
So, but I do agree on both your points, 100%.
So would you keep the sliders as where they at from a combine perspective, or would you make them a little bit more intricate and more difficult?
I think I would keep them where they are right now. The thing is, the combine's great. It's a great mode. Everything's balanced. Just players that are in it are not making it enjoyable.
I do agree the combine's great. I do think though that shooting was nerfed greatly and it was needed, but I feel like it was just a little too much.
Mm-hmm. It's still too high, because real life Golden State Warriors, they shoot 38% from 3, and in the combine it's about 50%.
Well, I think you said it was the shooting a little harder.
No, shooting is way harder, and I feel like it should be brought up a little bit. I don't know about all that. I haven't seen that.
Yeah.
I've seen
some of the top.
I haven't even seen top players shoot over 60%. Not even close.
He has a
shot
rating. What's your
shot rating slasher?
And he's shooting 50% from 3. 57%.
Some guys are using sharpshooters. They're posting their stats on Twitter. They got some crazy
It's
high.
some crazy numbers.
I haven't seen that.
I think the paints in the point should. The points in the paint is where the problem is. I think if they tone it. Shooting is fine to me, but the points in the paint, if they can tone that down, I think it'll be a great mode. And I think it's something they should, use for the league. The combine is the sliders and the difficulty level at its own is pretty good. It's pretty good.
Awesome.
I hope they continue to use that moving forward. Because
That's cool.
I've been saying this for 2 years, man, about the dash system, and I'm glad that they did it the way they did it for this combine. Because if you look at the regular teams on the game, it's only about 5 players that have one Hall of Fame badge to them. The whole, one player. It's like 5 of them through the whole 30 teams. So I'm like, why do 2K allow? I understand it's a money thing. Grind your player, spending money. But it's just to balance the game. You don't need 50 badges on a guy. You know what I mean? Just try to make it more realistic as possible. And teach these kids the game of basketball. Don't teach them cheese. Teach them. Give them a tutorial of how to play the game instead of teach them how to cheese the game. You know, because that's basically what you're doing. You give them, 50 badges, Hall of Fame badges,
Exactly.
gold badges, and they go out there and to the walk on and they think they Jordan.
Yeah.
If you give them a player that is limited in what they can do, I think they're they thinking they'll run customers away. I think guys will learn how to play the game. I think it'll help them teach them how to play the game better. And you have a better product out there on the floor.
It would show the stick skills.
Yeah.
Bring out the stick skills.
For sure.
It'll make people play together too, because you can't do everything.
Exactly.
I mean, I've got 10 characters. I got some of them that can do virtually everything, and then I got some that are just, all right, I have to play a role.
Okay.
Right? If you can eliminate, do everything like they're doing in the combine, then I have to,
You have to
move
play.
it around and try to figure out who can help and what.
For sure. Anybody else? So to piggyback on that question, it goes from the dynamic of this is how you can help the next players get better. Is it something that you guys can be able to provide? So if somebody wants to get into the NBA 2K and the community, what type of question, what type of answers would you give them? What type of insight would you give that person?
Probably just make sure you actually know about the game of basketball, and then also know like how to really play, how 2K kind of works. Because it's stuff you can do in real life that you can't really apply to 2K because it's something different.
For sure.
I'll just say, like, take the game seriously. There's a lot of people that's passionate about the game. They really take this game seriously. And there's a lot of people that play the game just to be playing it. They really, when you mix the people who just want to play the game just to play it with the people who's passionate about it, it's never really nothing good. So just take the game very serious.
For sure.
When you take your time to learn how the game really works, because let's say you're going for a block, I always suggest that you jump before they shoot it, because once you're in the air, your hands is better. It's just a better game.
Yeah, got you.
It's a better move. So like stuff like in real life, you cannot use it in 2K,
Gotcha.
and the stuff in real life that you can use in 2K, it goes hand in hand.
Gotcha.
So like you should know that like this animation is not gonna work.
Gotcha.
This certain move that I'm doing, this spin layup, is not gonna work all the time. You have to know that 2K is not gonna give you that real life effect every time. You have to understand that it's a video game. And then I feel like people like myself want it to be so much like real life that it makes you frustrated. So you just gotta take the time out to play. All it takes is practice, repetition, knowing what works, and then you'll be a good player.
Awesome.
What was the question again?
Just if you were able to give, you answered it already. If you was able to give some insight, you did answer it.
Okay.
Anybody else?
I'm just watching Chris Paul go off right now.
I have to piggyback off the other gentleman. Take it serious. This is a sport,
Yes.
You can't say that we're not in here grinding, that to some way, form or fashion, that we're out here sweating to get as good as we can, just
For
like
sure.
the athletes are. We're conditioning ourselves psychologically to play this game like that. So
Exactly.
take it serious.
Okay, so I got a good funny question. This is going. So if you had to pick any team to get drafted by, who would that team be?
Everyone in here, you already know the answer.
So what's up? So
No, I'm kidding. Answer that truthfully.
Well, of course, Mavs gaming because I'm a Mavs fan.
Okay.
But then either I don't really care. Like if it's any team that were to draft me, I wouldn't care.
Yeah.
To be honest, I don't care where I go. But if I had to pick, I probably would pick like Orlando or Miami.
Okay.
Or like
You want to go with
Sacramento.
that weather?
He picked the best weather. Orlando, Miami, Sacramento. Me too. I want to go there.
Hey, no, my answer's too, but
I did want to be on the coast.
I picked the Warriors, I picked Miami, I picked all the ones.
What about you, OG?
Hey, I mean, of course, just to get drafted, period, to any team, I'd be happy with it. Like I told you, it'd be the closest thing I get to getting to the NBA, period.
For sure.
So just any team, but of course I want to stay home. Just go to the Mavs. It's easier on me and my friends and my family.
That's perfect. Good answer, man.
Me, I had 4 teams in mind. Of course, any team.
Okay.
But I'm from New York City.
Awesome.
So I would love to go to New York. I
Perfect.
can be around my friends,
Yes.
my day ones. Dallas.
He might not be there next year.
We're
He
not
changed
open,
city.
say what?
He might not be
It's
there.
in Oakland. So
Yeah,
it's in
yeah.
Oakland.
Oh, Golden State.
Yeah.
But he said KD.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
He
Golden
also
State, Golden State.
he with the Warriors.
He's with the Warriors.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Hold on. Hold on.
I was like thinking, okay,
When he said KD,
No,
it is San Fran.
No,
it is San
It's
Fran.
in Oakland. Oracle
No.
Stadium is. I lived in there. The Oracle
Oracle
Stadium
is in Oakland. That is a fact. That
It's
is
a
a
fact.
Who
fact.
you gonna agree with?
No, but he's right.
I put
The
some money
team
on
is
it.
You're right that the team is San Fran.
The team is
But the
San
arena
Fran.
is in
The
Oakland.
arena is in
That's all I'm
Oakland.
saying.
Yeah.
You're
So he's
right.
in Oakland. He'll
They
go-
got the
yeah.
San Francisco skyline. I get
Are
that.
they building a new arena?
They are
might
building. They are building a new.
They
They are
might.
building a new one in
Yes,
San
that's
Francisco.
right.
at the end of the day, at the end of the day, you want to be with KD and the Warriors. Period. You want to be in California.
Maybe Boston, because I just want to see Kyrie handles in person. I just want to see how he separates himself.
For sure.
Hey, you know it's no guarantee, but you're going to have any kind of interaction with these players, man.
No, I'm saying,
I'm only met one basketball.
Now that I'm in Boston, I can always pay for a ticket to go because it's easier instead of paying for the
Yeah.
plane ticket
Gotcha.
and the
For sure.
Ticket to what? To the game?
Yeah,
You ain't paying no ticket to go to a game.
they
Right.
free.
Yeah.
You pay for a team? I didn't.
None of my players would ever pay for a match.
I'm coming to out the locker room.
Someone if your manager makes you pay ticket, you call me. I'll get you the ticket to that game.
Being warm up. Dennis, do a windmill.
So Aaron, talk to me. Aaron has a really cool perspective. So
Well, he asked me the other day or yesterday, and I said if I had to pick one, I'd pick Toronto because it's just it's so different, and it's just like different country, and like I would. love
Canada's
to-
awesome
I
too,
would-
by the way.
Yes.
Yeah, I've never been there, but like I would love to just go.
Such an
somewhere.
amazing country.
Yeah, exactly.
I went to Montreal, amazing experience.
See, I want to experience all that,
Mhm.
just be in a different environment,
for
Yeah.
sure.
And by the way, I encourage all you hometown guys, go somewhere different.
Yeah.
It's not just for you being in different. You learn so much from different people, cultures. That experience alone you can't buy, man. I've lived in about 5 different states, 2 different countries, and I wouldn't be where I am if I didn't experience that for sure.
For sure. Steve.
Well, of course, I'd love to be drafted home, of course.
Yeah.
But any team that is interested in traveling, taking their team abroad to show our talents overseas,
For
especially
sure.
like in the South Korea market, because I feel like we can market heavy there. If you're willing to do that, then I want to go to that team.
I feel that. Respect. So who do you guys feel should be on the cover of 2K19?
Me.
Actually, let's hold that question.
Okay.
Who do you think 2K players could land on the cover of 2K in the next 5 to 10 years?
What 2K players?
I want to hear everyone's answer on this
Go
too.
for it. Go for it.
2K players.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think 2K players could make the cover in the next 5 to 10 years?
Oh, do I think they can?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Especially since it's a 2K league, they might just, let's go with a 2K league player on that this time.
For sure. For sure. And who would you feel that should be, even if it's a real player? Who do you think should be on the cover for
Yeah, both
19?
those questions.
If I were to pick a real player,
Mm-hmm.
Next year after.
Next
Based
year.
off this season, right?
I'm a LeBron fan. So
Okay.
I'll put LeBron on.
You put LeBron. Has LeBron ever been on?
No, like,
Yeah,
Yeah,
14.
I was on 15, right?
14.
He's on
14?
Yeah.
14.
Where I was at 15.
Yeah.
Perfect. What about you?
I mean, yeah, of course. Like they already do it on my career mode anyway, so
Mhm.
why not just put the 2K players on there? Like you said, if we start in the league, might as well start some new stuff.
For sure. Madden, they did Madden play. They did a problem. They had him in the. No, they did Dubby. Dubby was in the he wasn't on the front, but he was in the back.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
That's cool too.
What do you say?
Yeah, go for it. Sorry.
I would love to see myself on the 2K cover.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. As far as players in the NBA to be on the cover,
Based off this year,
based off this year,
current season.
I
That's what
would
they
go
based
with-
it off, right? The cover, or is
Yeah.
it based off every season?
Yeah.
I would want to go with a winning team. So I'd say James Harden.
James Harden.
James Harden, because he is a great.
Every
James
time-
been on the cover, right? Or yeah.
No,
yeah,
He's on live. There we go.
Oh, yeah.
He's on current live right
He
now.
was also
Yeah,
on
on the
the
2K one,
13
where it was
too.
3.
Oh,
Have any of you
They
played
had to
live?
share- they-
Have any of you
they-
played
They
live?
had to pick different.
Everyone play live this year?
I played
Better than
different.
2K or worse?
I just never really got around to playing.
It's
See,
like
I've heard that answer.
Yeah.
I've heard people tell me live is better.
Exactly.
it's
Yeah.
kind of balanced. Like you gotta take
2K
different parts.
is better.
2K.
It like,
Completely
drop the
better.
mic.
Like,
Yeah.
I don't know if it's the
I
team-
heard the live career mode is just better.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
the experience.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
that's true.
I would tell you this: is both games have good points. If they can put both games together, they have a perfect.
And I always
That
say
baby.
that. I always say that.
NBA 2K Live.
And it's because NBA Live's their engines in regards to the visual aspect to it, or is it due to like the feel of how the players move?
2K being as popular as they are, they're always going after the money. Live is just coming back in the scene, so they're more about trying to gain fans in. So they don't have all the microtransactions that 2K has.
Mm-hmm.
So
I also think 2K though has better movement and experience than Live, where Live is kind of held back and a little slower, right? That's just my opinion.
Yeah, that's what I think.
Because the development has been ongoing for 2K. You know, Live has had 2 different stoppages.
Exactly.
Over the, so they still trying to develop their game, but moving forward, if they can keep have the capital to keep moving forward, I think it'll catch up with 2K.
Yeah.
Gameplay wise. But to answer that question earlier, this year they already kind of dropped the gem into my career mode about as far as having players on the cover.
For sure.
Because they asked your character, well, he says, I want to be on the cover of 2K one day.
Yes, for sure.
So that's one gem that I think they already dropped in there.
Exactly.
Now, it's going to depend on the popularity of the league.
Exactly.
So as far as putting a player on, actual 2K player on the cover.
Exactly.
And they need to put Dirk on the cover.
Yeah.
Because he's about to go out.
He's about to go out. Hey, that makes sense. That definitely makes sense.
One time, he's already on the cover once. So
my biggest fear is the changing of hands. The NBA Live being that, then the NBA 2K as it is now being that go-to. Because for you guys and the NBA being a partner of the NBA 2K, it's like, if NBA Live starts to get really good, does it change the whole dynamics of NBA 2K League, and how do they mesh that? So I would much rather them both to have a baby. I'd much rather them both to come together, because if you're thinking about NBA Live perspective, they're like, well, how can we even compare, to the NBA and NBA 2K18 pairing up, and 2K19 NBA 2K League, So that's like a really big hill. I can only imagine what is going on in the boardrooms for that experience, because that's a huge, you have to provide a ton of value to overkill what 2K has going on. And that's a huge, you got to have some real power to be able to, some real funding, some real power to be able to do that. So I'm like, are they going to waste their money just trying to go and do it, or are they going to find some way to be able to partner with everything and utilize NBA Live, NBA 2K underneath the NBA?
I think the league is going to stick with 2K because it's the 2K league. You would have to change the whole model, branding and everything to go with another company.
Okay.
And Live is not, they don't have the fan base to pull it off.
Gotcha. So
Roger can speak on that more.
So do you see them
What was the question?
discombobulating?
Sorry, go ahead.
So in the dynamics of NBA Live and NBA 2K right now, 2K has the stamp of NBA's approval right now. But you guys are also stating that it's been up and up in regards to NBA Live being just as good, right? So from that dynamic, if they have something in their pockets right now that they go push, my fear is we're going to be swishy-washy every year, like Call of Duty, like
the reason that won't happen
is
is NBA Live doesn't have the base or even player base to do that yet.
So do you see them stopping? Because they have,
stopping, no, because they make money from NBA Live no matter what. If you look at, and this is something, my opinion though, is that what it costs to develop a game and what they're earning is probably the earnings are way more, because it probably doesn't cost that much to develop the live game because they already have those resources. So I don't believe they'll stop, because even if they're only making hundreds of thousands of dollars, that's still hundreds of thousands of dollars more that they're making. But I'm sure they're in the millions in sales and revenue and stuff. So I don't see it being competition. I also see, you gotta understand, the NBA and 2K signed a contract. I'm sure 2K Interactive, Take-Two, made sure that ain't nobody gonna come in and try to outbid them or anything like that.
Exactly.
So I don't see that being an issue right now.
That's why I said they want to change the branding and the whole model. And
Yeah,
everything, just to switch that.
Take-Two's a very smart corporate company. I'm sure they thought about those things.
Yeah, live. I mean, I think Roger said something about the career mode being good. It's not that good, really. I mean, they have a long way to go.
Yeah.
As far as the pro-am, how they have it now, they have a long way to go.
For sure.
Yeah. No.
So we can go ahead on that question in regards to the titles on the actual cover. You guys can answer it. What's your perspective?
What was the question?
it was the actual individual, the player, or that of the real player on the NBA 2K19.
Oh, okay, that's right. I feel like it'd be cool if they could like share a cover. You know what I'm saying? Like have like the 2K League gamer in the background, and then have like the actual athlete in the front. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like maybe have like the
So you can
2K
still be able to track the
yeah,
audience
maybe
that
like
love
you can
it,
have
yeah.
like you can have like the 2K League's player, like you know how they have like they put the name on the cover too, like have it like that.
For
Yeah,
sure.
like,
Makes sense.
And as far as like the NBA player on the cover, that's a tough one really.
Come on, yo.
Maybe I'd see.
Oh.
What do you do, bro? What do you do, man?
I was looking at the game. I'm sorry.
Like, dang.
Like, look at this. Like,
No, I know what you
same
mean.
team, everything. That's crazy.
I don't know really. It's really tough, honestly. Like for someone different. I know people like they've been on the cover before over and over again. Maybe I'd say like DeRozan. DeRozan, I'd say.
DeRozan,
He's improving
for sure.
a lot. So.
I feel that. I respect that. And Steven.
DeRozan doesn't get enough credit, I feel like.
Exactly. I said,
Cover for like that you could buy in
He
Canada.
was, yeah, he
maybe.
was on that.
In Canada?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Oh yeah, he is.
That's interesting.
That's dope.
Yeah, that's cool.
I'm very confident that a 2K League player can be on the cover of NBA 2K because
Awesome.
that is the game itself, right?
Yeah.
In some facets, that's a bigger celebrity than the NBA player. If you don't watch the NBA,
Exactly.
you'll know the 2K player first. But if there's a player out there, I mean, Russell averaged a triple double last year. I like to see Russell on it.
Yes.
Westbrook.
Russell is alive, boy.
Yeah, all right.
I think he
That's-
signed with Live for
Russell, you said?
years.
Years.
He's been on the cover, hasn't he?
Not
No,
2K,
not
not
2K.
2K. Live.
He was live.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was live.
Yeah, okay. That's perfect. So, I'm not going to keep you guys so much. I know I put you guys under the spot today. A lot of times today. A lot. Oh, Roger, thank you for coming
sir.
here, man.
Yep.
If you
Appreciate
guys
this.
had any questions for me, what would that question be? Like, if you guys have any questions.
What you love most about your job?
The people. I grew up taking care of my family. I have a lot of brothers, sisters. I have a mother and father they're working. They're working every single day. And for my dynamic, I have the same thought process and the same kind heart for every individual to pursue their passion. My dynamic is being very efficient at pursuing your passion. And so I want to provide the mechanics to the individuals to be able to be efficient at pursuing their passion. If it's gaming, you can find dynamics of not only being a gamer, but you can be in the production of gaming, you can be in the development of gaming, you can find so many different facets in the gaming, but it's still your passion. And so from that dynamic, I just want to be able to push individuals to go with something that they really love, because naturally if you're doing something that you really love, you're going to be really dang good at it. And so from that perspective, it is the people. I like hearing the stories of the people because it keeps myself humble to know that there's always someone else out there that may experience something even harder. And the times I think I experience something hard, I tell myself, shut up, because you never know somebody else is out there experience, so go harder. So it's the people.
I do. I've known you for how long? 7, 8 months.
Yeah, man.
Hard work.
Mhm.
So my question is,
For sure.
how often do you sleep, man?
Oh
question.
man, that's a really good question. My mind is always
Before
going.
you answer that, too,
Yeah.
let the camera know what else you do besides this.
Yeah. I own 2 restaurants. I all the money I make from those, I push it inside of here. I do work on I move for trucks. Any money that I can be able to make to be able to keep this going, I will. If I can be able to get a break to somebody say, come here and say, I'll give you this amount of capital to really pursue this forever, I'll greatly do it. So in regards to sleep, anytime my phone rings or anytime I need to get something done, I don't think about sleep. I say, okay, well, when are you available? Like somebody say, I'm available at 11 o'clock, so I'm going to be available. Because I don't get a lot of opportunities. So for me, I look at any opportunity as that may be that opportunity.
Right.
That opportunity may be the time that I can say, oh man, I got got that what I'm looking for out of this. You know, so if somebody say I got to be up at 2 a.m. or somebody say I'm going to be there at 2 a.m., I'm going to be there at 5, I'm going to be in there. And just so happen, there's a lot of individuals with different schedules. So I got to make sure that I'm available for everybody.
And I already do that. I just asked that question because I wanted people who watch this video to know in order to be successful, this is the path you have to take to get there.
Yes, for sure.
I barely met you, and then when I messaged you on Twitter and you didn't respond right back, I was like, he's asleep?
He's asleep?
He's on that.
No, man, I'm not coming to see you.
About 2-3 hours you need at least to even survive. So. You best believe if he doesn't respond for an hour, he's taking a nap.
I'm taking a nap, man. Yeah, I don't want nobody to think I'm just like a
people
robot. Yeah,
that's
like
people that work a lot.
Yeah.
We don't sleep, we take naps.
we take naps, you know. Like I will quickly get in the bed for about an hour. My alarm clock is about an hour. I have it set for an hour. You know, like I can go to sleep. I can feel good with getting. And a good thing is, I try to stay active. I try to stay like we go play basketball. That energy allows me to sustain it. You know, if I can go play basketball, I'm good for a couple days. You know, because my blood is still pumping.
Yeah,
so from that dynamic, and I know I ain't gonna be able to do that for a long time. You know, so I know sleep is gonna be very critical. So in my perspective, it's like get it on out now. You know, just go grind as hard as you possibly can right now. So you build it until it can be more efficient later on.
Right.
Anything else?
I got a question. So like, I don't know about everybody else, but I know like for the most part, this combine is what really have like most of us here.
Mm-hmm.
Like after the draft and those who don't get drafted and everything after, what are you gonna do with this?
Oh, that's awesome. That's everything. So my dynamic of what I really want to be able to do is be that person that starts to establish the D League, essentially the G League. And it's about, right now, what you guys are seeing, the Building the Culture of Dallas, this video content, us talking, I want to go inspire other cities to do the exact same thing. So therefore, when we're here and we're not part of NBA 2K League, we can be able to still have those tournaments, have those matches with San Antonio, with Austin, with Denver, with Atlanta, all of those dynamics. And I really want to, I've been spending so much time building this application to the point to where I want that to be the hub for individuals to come to enter into tournaments. And therefore it can be a good driving force for not only from a capital perspective, but also just a community perspective. And there's still companies, their Frito-Lay may have $1 million to give to NBA, but there's going to be a Sharp that has only 200,000 that they want to be able to brand onto a G League, you know. So there's still companies that's going to want to be able to get the same exposure. So if we go out and say, hey, this is all the communities, there's going to be some interest from a corporation standpoint, from a financial standpoint, and then also interest from players that didn't get drafted. So there's a good mesh in between that, and somebody has to create it. And so from my perspective, it doesn't create it. If I don't do it, you know, if the company doesn't do it, then somebody else is going to go do it. Mm-hmm. And I much rather, if I want to do this for the rest of my life, I much rather do this so it can be beneficial to everybody else in the generations to come. Cool. So let's close it out right now. Thank you guys. Definitely thank you guys for coming out here, traveling, visiting. Roger, you just got the plane. Like, man, like you guys just y'all just came out here. So we're gonna keep doing this. After the combine, you're gonna see us putting together more tournaments and more opportunities for individuals. Sean is gonna be here, you know, like this individual right here, like it's cool to see him because he just pops up at the door, you know, like, hey, I'm here. I'm like, whoa, man. So when you got individuals that hungry, you know, that's insane. You know, that's who's really gonna drive the exposure for NBA 2K League. Individuals such as him. So he's very prominent. And any other production individuals that come on board, they're going to be super prominent to getting you guys out there from an exposure standpoint. So thank you guys, all of you guys. And we'll go hoop. We'll go hoop at 9. Let's get it. Let's get it. Yeah.
All right, cool.